beautiful friends. Welcome to the final class in our Winter Yin Yoga series. It's been my honor and privilege to work with you all throughout the last 7 weeks. This is our 8th class, so the last of our 8 class series is tonight. The replays will be available indefinitely on YouTube, so don't worry about that. And then I will be following up from tonight's class with the replay. There'll be a short survey that if you guys could fill out and give me any feedback on your experience, and also it's an opportunity for you to let me know if you're interested in doing more series sessions like we've been doing. So please, if you have a few moments, take them and give me some feedback. It just helps make my teaching and my offerings more accessible to others down the road. So I appreciate that in advance. So tonight, you see in front of me, I have a new accoutrement to our yoga practice. I just got this beautiful singing bowl over the weekend, and it is specifically to the tune of the sacral chakra. So I was inspired by the acquisition of this bowl to make this evening's class, this final class, about our sacral chakra, which also just sort of seems appropriate to the season that we're in. So throughout this winter series, we've been through the depth of winter. We've explored a lot of various themes related to the season of winter, to the love of Valentine's Day. And as we close our series, we come to the edge of winter, and the very early stages of spring is beginning to spring in some quarters. So down here in North Carolina, I've seen some daffodils already blooming in some places. So spring is on its way, and definitely, if not visibly, then below the surface, there's a lot of energy starting to waken up. So in honor of that, this place in the cycle of the seasons, the emphasis on our sacral chakra tonight is going to be about tapping into our creative spirit and the sort of creative energy, the passion, the self-expression that is maybe just beginning to sort of waken back up after our sort of winter slumber or hibernation. So after all of this time resting, rejuvenating, maybe the sparks of some new creative expression, of some new passion projects are beginning to emerge. So that's kind of where we're at in our flow tonight. And on that note, let's go ahead and begin. If you aren't already, get in a comfortable seated position. You're welcome, as always, to get yourself up on a little cushioning. Just helps get the hips just a little higher to access more space in the legs. And I invite you to go ahead and find your first stillness. Let your eyes come closed or rest your gaze gently on the ground in front of you. And as we find that stillness, let's bring our attention to our breath. Perhaps for the first time today, become aware of the sensation of breathing. We are making no effort to change our breathing. We're not judging ourselves for any alteration in our regular breathing patterns. We're just observing with curiosity and love how our breath feels in our body in this moment. We follow our breath down into our body, becoming aware of the visceral sensation of breathing, the moving of our diaphragm, the expansion of our rib cage, the flow of air through our nose, simply aware, simply grateful. Stay with your breath at your own natural pace, and I'm going to just play the notes of the singing bowl while you're breathing. Sound is a vibration. All energy is a vibration. This bowl plays a D note, which is the vibration at which your sacral chakra resonates. So, this sound is a way to access and unblock the energetic center of your sacral chakra. Follow the sound down your spine, just below your belly button is your sacral chakra. And as you breathe and feel the note into your very cells, repeat silently, I connect to my desires and follow them with courage. I connect to my desires and follow them with courage. I connect to my desires and follow them with courage. Beautiful. Go ahead and allow your eyes to flutter back open. And let's find ourselves into a square pose. So we are, I encourage you, if you weren't already and you have a blanket or cushion accessible, to go ahead and get sat up on. It doesn't have to be very thick, maybe just an inch or two, but it's just going to help us get into our hips a little bit more here. So go ahead and get yourself firmly planted and just start in a neutral kind of cross-legged position. And we're just going to kind of adjust into it. So square or fire log pose, we are stacking our shins directly on top of each other. So let's bring our left foot on top, although if you got your right foot on top, that's fine. Just remember to switch over next time. And we are aiming to get the front, like our shins, sort of parallel. So you can't quite tell from the angle that you're looking at, but my shins are stacked pretty much on top of each other. It may mean that you've brought your knees in a little narrower than you would be if you were just in a neutral position. We're trying to get that left ankle on top of our right knee and our left knee over our right ankle. Now, you may have some gapping here if this hip is really tight. You're more than welcome, if this is uncomfortable, to get a cushion or a block in here to support your knee while you're in this position. Let's get our feet nice and flexed. That's going to help, especially on this upper knee, to protect that knee while it's bent. All right, now that our lower halves are properly aligned and nice and grounded in, we're going to go ahead and inhale. We're going to grow long in our spine, lifting up from our hips. Top of our head floats up to the sky. And we're going to exhale and walk ourselves forward. working to get that bend from our hips like a hinge, not punching and rounding over. So you stay where you are, but from the side, if you're looking, what that looks like is more of a hinge forward and not a rounding forward. And go ahead and come to that stillness if you haven't yet, and let your breath be your guide. Been in the pose for a little while now. So if your hips say, yep, we've got some more space, then feel free to access it now. And once you have returned to stillness, if your body was like, no, our edge is not moved, then just please stay where you are. As always, we're not looking for our deepest, stretchiest, bendiest work here. We're just coming to that, just the edge of a little sensation, and then staying there. Just a few more rounds of breath. Beautiful. Inhale, walk yourself back up, right? And let's switch legs. So if you're following with me, we're going to put the left leg on the bottom, right leg comes on top. Again, knees are a little bit more in than in a neutral cross-legged position. And our now our right knee is on top of our left foot, and our right foot is on top of our left knee. Feet are flexed to protect those bent knees. And once we have gotten our legs aligned, we find length in our spine. Inhaling, growing tall, floating our rib cage up, floating our head up to the sky. And we exhale and fold forward like a hinge, not rounding. And if that means that you don't fold as far forward, that is okay. And when you have found that edge, as always, we've come to stillness. We return to our breath. And we let time and gravity do the work. if you have any extra space, go ahead and take it now. If not, just stay right where you are. Find your stillness, find your breath. Keep those feet flexed. Inhale, walk yourself back up. All right. I'm going to demonstrate facing forward, and then I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what the pose looks like from the side as well. So we're going to do a seated twist, and we're going to bring our legs out in front of us first. Get nice and rooted on the edge of your sit bone. So your tailbone is going to be tipped forward just ever so slightly. And you'll see what that looks like from the side in a second. What we're going to do is, and this is where actually getting up on this cushion is going to help even more, but we're going to take our right leg and we're going to cross it over our left, really nesting that right foot against the outside of our left leg. We're going to inhale and twist like this. I'm just going to quickly show you how this looks from the side as well, so you get your alignment right. So we got legs out in front. I'm going to pick up that right leg, get it over the left leg, nesting that foot right against the outside of the leg. And I encourage you to try and get it not right up against your knee. That can just be a lot of pressure. So if that means a little further away, which might make the twist a little bit more accessible, or for some extra juice, bringing it in closer. All right, so right leg crossed over. Inhale, grow long in the spine. Exhale, using your left hand leveraged against your right knee. Find that twist. Bring your right hand behind you to the ground and look over that right shoulder, or keep your head in a neutral position. Make sure your shoulders are dropped. There's a tendency for that left shoulder in particular to creep up towards your ear. And we stay here and we breathe. As we inhale, we imagine our spines growing longer. And as we exhale, perhaps imperceptibly, we deepen the twist. Inhale, spine grows long. Exhale, maybe just a fraction more twist. And in this pose, you actually are looking to use that left hand kind of pulling the knee across to help deepen the stretch. You'll probably feel this pretty deeply along that IT band, that outside of your right leg and up into your hip there. One more time, inhale, grow long. Exhale, maybe just a tiny bit more twist. Stay with your breath. We won't be here too much longer. Exhale, release, and return to center. You can let that right leg come down to the ground. Maybe let's give them a little shake, a little shaky shake out, a little wiggle, a little wobble. All right, and now right leg comes out straight in front of us. We bring the left leg over to cross. Again, aiming not to be pressing that ankle right into the knee. A little further away is less of a intense stretch on the outside of the leg here. We inhale and grow long. We exhale and we twist. Left hand comes behind us to the mat. Actively drop shoulders away from our ears. Head can be neutral, or for a little extra juice, you can aim it a little bit more back over that left shoulder. We're here in stillness, but we imagine also that with every inhale, our spine grows a little longer. And with every exhale, perhaps just fractionally more twist is accessed. Wherever you are, stay with your breath. Remember, the right hand is actively engaged in holding and almost pulling that left knee across the body, deepening the stretch. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, twist. Almost there. Just keep breathing. Inhale, spine grows long. Exhale, maybe just a fraction more twist. Beautiful. Exhale and return to center. Release your left knee. And we're going to come into a squat. If your knees will allow. If not, then what I'd invite, if your knees are not like, okay, Rachel, then let's come back to your cushion and just bring your knees up like this to either side of you and kind of hug them into you a little bit, right? If, however, your knees are going to allow this, then we're going to come up and bring our heels onto our cushion and then come into the squat. Knees are wide. Palms come together in front of the heart, and those elbows actually help press the knees out, and it actually can help, it kind of helps stabilize the pose a little bit more. If you don't have the cushion, that's totally okay. It just means that your ankles are they don't have that, your heels don't have that extra sort of support to, so you're just balancing a little bit more. So it's absolutely okay. I just find that having the little cushion under my heels helps to feel more stable in the pose and allows the heel to really drop in and get that nice stretch along the back of the calf as well. Wherever you were, you're in stillness. Come to your breath. Breaths. All right. Bring your hands down to the mat, rock yourself forward a little bit and come down. And let's go ahead, if you had a cushion, get it out of the way. And we're going to come into cat pulling its tail. So Come down onto your side like a mermaid, right? In our little mermaid pose here. Knees are starting by being stacked on top of each other, and we are resting on our right elbow. From here, we're going to bring our top or our left leg a little forward. And with our left hand, we're going to grab our right foot and pull that back behind us. That front leg, you can kind of keep your foot active in the ground so that you're not bending that knee forward. And we're going to stay here and we're going to focus this one a little bit more on getting a nice deep stretch along the front of our right leg. You can, however, if this feels like just too much, come down onto your side and let your head rest in your hand. You don't have to stay propped up on that elbow. That might even actually give you a little bit more space to get that back bottom right leg a little further behind you. Once you find your edge, find that stillness, and come to your breath. I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure of observing a cat chasing its own tail. They definitely look like they're having more fun than we probably do right now. Be with your breath. At this point, if that I guess that would be your left knee, the top knee, wants to come down to the ground, that is okay, and that'll kind of bring your hips to roll into the twist a little bit more deeply. And now we're getting a little bit more of a twist in our midsection. But still probably feeling that nice deep stretch on the front of the thigh. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale, release that back foot down to the ground. And either just kind of roll over onto the other side or kind of flip flop sides like I am. We're going to come to our mermaid pose on our left side here. We are starting with our resting on our left elbow. Our knees are stacked on top of each other. And then we are going to bring our top right leg forward. Foot comes to the mat. Right hand grabs left foot and pulls it backward. And you can go ahead and come down if you prefer, all the way onto your side and let your head rest in your hand. Again, to start, we're going to keep our front right leg elevated a little bit with that foot firmly planted into the ground and bring that focus to letting the stretch in the front of our left thigh be our focus. Come to the edge. Pull that foot back as far as that edge will let you go, and then find stillness. And we breathe. This point, if you feel called, you can let that front top right knee come down to the mat and deepen the twist. That's going to pull your right hip further forward. If you moved, come back to stillness. Come to your breath. Inhale. Exhale, release the back foot. Let that foot drop to the mat. And come on up to a seated position, just so that we can reorient ourselves on our mats. And then we're going to come down onto our backs. Let's go ahead first and do a nice knees to chest. So this is a very similar sort of form to the squat that we were in earlier, only now we're on our backs and we're letting gravity work a different movement. So bring your feet to the mat, knees up, and then inhale, bring your knees in to your chest and bring your hands to your knees and let them gently kind of pull your knees further in. This is going to let your back kind of really flatten into the mat. Let your tailbone curl up. So you get your whole back flat across the mat. Come to stillness. And as you breathe in this pose, which you'll notice is kind of impeded by the pressure of our knees coming into our midsection. But really notice the sensation of breathing and how it's different when it can't move as freely into the front of the body and how it feels expanding your back into the mat. You may notice that your knees kind of ebb and flow a little bit further away or closer with the rhythm of your breath. It's totally natural. Even though we're still, there's that type of movement remains as the breath flows through the body. Maybe hug your knees in just a little tighter. A few rounds of breath. Really pressing that back into the mat. Shoulders are relaxed away from our ears. Inhale and exhale. Release your knees. Feet come back down to the mat. All right. Okay, let's maybe do just a quick windshield wiper. A little counterbalance to that pose, and find stillness, feet planted on the mat, knees up in the air. And we're going to come into a happy baby. So I hadn't grabbed it yet, but if you have something handy, if your flexibility is not so flexible tonight, you can use a strap in this pose. I'll demonstrate with it first, and then I'll show you how it looks without. So feet come up into the air. If you're using the strap, you'll get your feet around it, and then you'll just kind of use the strap with your feet flexed wide to sort of pull your feet back toward you. Okay. Otherwise, we're getting our hands around the outsides of our feet. And you can already see why this pose is named if you've ever watched a baby in its cradle. But we're not staying here with our feet together. We're going to sort of slowly bring them up and out to the sides as far as we can. Now, our knees are not in our center like they were in more of our knees to chest last pose, but they are coming out to the sides and sort of up into our armpits, if you will. Feet are flexed. And again, the back is really pressed into the mat. But you may find the pressure is in different places on your back than it was in the last pose. And again, come to stillness and really be aware of the sensation of breath and how different it feels in this pose compared to our last one. If this is too intense for tonight, it lessens by bringing those feet closer together again, like we started. But if you have it, stay with it. We won't be here too much longer. Let your shoulders relax. All of the activities where your hands are gripping your feet. Just a few more rounds of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Release your feet. Float them back down to the mat. Arms come down to the sides, resting on the floor. And let's go ahead and take a little windshield wiper again, just kind of reset from that holding. Feel free to sort of roll your wrists, wiggle your fingers. That could be a lot of pressure on your hands to hold like that as well. Come back to stillness. And then let's come up and over onto our hands and knees for a little thread the needle. So our knees are hip distance apart. Feet can be flat on the mat or toes curled under, whichever helps you feel more stable. Hands are under our shoulders, shoulder width apart. And let's just find stillness in this neutral tabletop position for a moment. Taking a few breaths here. Beautiful. Inhale. Bring your right hand up, up, up to the sky. We twist and look up towards it. We follow with our gaze. We exhale and we come forward and we sweep our arm underneath us, bringing that right shoulder and ear down to the mat. Right arm is behind the left wrist. You can use the pressure of your left hand against the mat to keep that left shoulder up and active in the twist. And we breathe. Your spine is anything like mine, you may be experiencing some snap, crackles, and pops along the way. All right, inhale and get yourself back up to hands and knees. Take a few breaths here in our neutral tabletop to reset. And inhale, left arm up to the sky, gaze follows to look at the left hand. Exhale, we sweep the arm under and through, bringing our left shoulder down, left ear down to the mat. Right hand presses firmly into the ground, keeping our right shoulder active and deepening the twist. Left arm is behind the right wrist. And we breathe. Beautiful inhale. And find yourself back in that neutral tabletop position. From here, go ahead and bring your right foot forward towards your hand. We're bringing our foot to the outside of our right hand. And you might actually want to back out of it for a second. If you had that cushion, you might want to get it under your knees if they're sensitive. Back to the tabletop, right foot forward, and bring that weight forward into that right knee. We want our knee to be stacked right over our ankle. Right hand comes to the inside of the right foot. And this is maybe not our deepest dragon pose tonight. We're going to just kind of stay here for right now. If you have the space, you are so welcome to come down to your forearms or to a block anywhere in between. wherever your edge is tonight. Once you get there, come to stillness. Really let your hips be heavy and sink towards the mat. All right, inhale. Push yourself back and then bring your right knee back under you. You'll switch sides. So bring that left foot forward to the outside of the left hand. Come into the sort of lunge and bring that left knee right over the left ankle. Hips are heavy, melting towards the ground. That knee can kind of come out to the side. That is absolutely okay. Find your edge though. Come to stillness. You totally got this, my loves. Just a few more rounds of breath. All right, inhale, push yourself back out of the lunge. Bring that knee under you. And if you got that blanket, go ahead, get that back out of the way. We're going to come back to our backs. Grab a block or that cushion. And we're going to come into a supported bridge. So we're on our backs, our feet are planted into the mat, knees are bent. Inhale, lift your hips up and get your prop underneath, really firmly, squarely behind your hips. You want your whole sort of pelvic girdle to be resting on this prop. You can, however, come up a little higher if you feel you have the space. If you're using a block, that is. Find your edge. Keep those feet nice and firmly planted into the mat. Let your shoulders actively relax down into the mat away from your ears. Sort of gently press your arms into the ground beneath you. And we breathe. Keep that active holding in your legs, but let your hips be heavy and relaxed into your prop. Beautiful. Inhale. Lift your hips up. Get that prop out of the way. Scooch everything a little further away from you if you can. Let your feet slide out in front of you, coming to the edges of your mat, falling open to the sides. Arms come out 6 to 8 inches from the body, palms facing sky as we come into our final Shavasana. Shrug your shoulders down away from your ears. If you haven't already, let your eyes come closed. And as we did at the beginning of class, bring our attention to our breath, making no effort to change it, bringing no judgment, merely loving curiosity, exploring how the breath feels different moving through our body now than it did at the beginning of class. Inquiring and following it further down into our physical experience of breathing, coming into our body. Stay with your breath, stay in your Shavasana. I'm going to bring the sound bowl back in. Bring your awareness to the top of your head. And let your breath and the sound melt away any tension. Bring your awareness to the center of your forehead and let it relax. Bring your awareness to your jaw, your lips. Let them relax. Flow your awareness down to your neck, throat, and let them relax. Bring your awareness to your shoulders, space across your collarbone, and feel them relax. Bring your awareness scanning down your arms, your elbows, wrists, your fingers, and let them find relaxation, letting go of any tension. Bring your awareness to your heart center, the sides of your ribs, and let it relax. Flow your awareness to your tummy, to your belly button, to your sides. Let everything relax. Bring your awareness to your hips and let them relax. Follow your awareness down your thighs, knees, your ankles, the tops of your feet, all of your toes, and let them relax. Creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun. Bring your awareness to the space just below your navel, to your sacral chakra, the seat of your creativity, of your joy, your passion for life and your loved ones. And let the sound shake loose any of the last winter, inviting the fresh energy of spring beginning to awaken deep within our bellies as it awakens deep within the earth. Bring your awareness back to this time and space. Find some movement in your fingers and toes. Gently roll onto one side and join me in a comfortable seated position. Letting your eyes stay closed just a moment longer. Smile inwardly. Thank yourself for this time today to find stillness, to be in your body with your breath, and to begin to feel the awakening of new creative expression and energy as winter fades and spring begins to find its way. The light in me honors the light in you. I thank you so much for your practice this evening throughout these 8 weeks. It has truly been my pleasure and my honor to serve. I hope that you have enjoyed your time here. Wherever you go, bring this peace and stillness with you, and it will serve you well. Namaste.